Hello,
Hello.
hello, lovers around the world. This is Jock and Ginny Boswell. I am talking to Ginny Boswell, and I have I'm in a hippie den, and Ginny is in beautiful Scotland with a wonderful view at the window. Hello, thanks for coming along, Ginny. Thank you for coming to talk to me.
Thank
So,
you for inviting me. Nice to be
so
here.
we're going
We
to
can't
talk.
be in person. We might as well be virtual.
Yeah, tell us about yourself, Jenny. Who are you? What do you do?
So I am Ginny Boswell, and I am the European sales manager for Wemyss Family Spirits.
Yes.
Been with the family. It will be 10 years in April. Can you believe it that I've been with the family? So
Wow.
a good old stint. And it's nice because I've been with them since they built King's Barnes and since King's Barnes has come to fruition and bottled and produced. So I feel like I've seen that whole project from conception to finish, which is
Yeah.
great.
So yeah, we'll get to Kingsbarns in a minute. You know, people watching, they can see behind me the Weems bottlings. You were talking about the Weems family. The Weems family are from the Kingdom of Fife, yes?
Yes, that's right. They have got hundreds of years of history in that particular region of Fife, which is if you've been to Edinburgh and you've got yourself to the Forth Road Bridge, go over the bridge, track a right, and Fife is all along that coastline there, right up to St Andrews. It stretches, and that's where the family are from. And you actually will drive past East Wemyss, West Wemyss, and the coal town of Wemyss, which is a large, important part of their history.
Lovely. And they started bottling before they built Kingsbarns, which we're going to get to in a wee minute, but they started bottling independent blended malts as well as single casks, but the
It's
core range of
interesting
these.
how they got into that actually, because the family's um, history with drinks, with alcohol, actually started with wine ever before it did with spirits. They have a winery in the south of France called Rimeresque, which they've had since the early 1980s.
Mhm.
And the family really got heavily invested in producing the blends of all the different grape varietals.
Uh-huh.
But we're constantly asked, but you're a Scottish family. Why on earth are you not producing Scotch whisky? So this planted the seed very much in William Wemyss, who's our chairman,
Mhm.
his mind, and set him on the journey of sourcing casks all around Scotland, which is what we do. So Wemyss Malts, as it was, started in 2005, and it was his idea to put together a package of blended malts. So pure malt, only using single malts, but blending them from different distilleries.
Lovely. Yeah, just like now, I have a little box here that you kindly sent. Now, for those of you watching, especially the Dutch people, don't ask. No, you're not getting one. You can buy them. The reason I'm saying this is uh, Dutch people, they have made a fine art of begging. So they, I think I've just insulted the whole country now, which I don't care about. Anyway, let's see. Let's get to this. I have to take away my virtual background to show the people what this looks like. So there we are. That's my green screen behind me. Now, this is the lovely box I got because I'm a good boy. Uh, there they all are. Beautiful that they are. And I'm going to open one now. It hasn't been opened at all. It's all just new. And so they're packed quite tightly. So I'll take out the hive first.
Good one to start with.
Yeah, nice and sweet, and but we'll talk about it as I open it. Now I'm going to put the background back up so that because it kind of looks better than that green thing. There we go. So for those of you watching, it's the one on the video is not being mirrored. My video is not being mirrored, so I don't know how to point to the
The
blinking.
bright side, yeah.
The hive, the golden one, which you can't see now because the virtual background is not accepting it. Here we have it, the hive, up against my jersey. You can see it. Oh yeah, and Virginia, you can see certainly. Now, it's totally and utterly unopened, and I'm just about to open it, which is always a good thing to do with whiskey. I did come armed with a
Hold on. Get that.
what's it called? What's it called? I know the Dutch word, but I've forgotten the English word. And Kellner's mess is the Dutch word, but a sommelier thingamajig.
I'm sure once we do a Google afterwards, we'll find out. So
Yeah.
the correct
You know,
terminology.
there's the bottle as well. It's lovely. You know, the saying thingamajigs and what's it called? The when you get to my age, you know, you have a sort of hard disk up here, and it gets full, and so Ginny was just telling us that when you listen to this, did you hear that, everyone? The just telling me that it pops very nicely. So here we're putting the hive into the glass. There we go.
And there's a nice satisfying weight to these new glass bottles as well.
Half it's huge.
These grooves are actually a sort of architectural nod to the family seat, the family home, which is Wemyss Castle through in Fife. So we just wanted to have something that nicely picked up on the family, but in the glass packaging as well. And like you say, nice wide heavy cork. You feel like you're holding a lovely precious glass decanter.
Yeah.
Which your customers have at home.
Now, talk us through it, Ginny. I know you can't really tell us exactly what's in it, but can you give us a hint of the region?
So these are, I would say, multi-regional blends. People that are familiar with Wemyss will know that we like to name our bottlings, and it gives you some indication of the aromas, the flavors that you're going to both smell and taste. With the hive, the first one in the range, it's also the lightest, and it's because we're predominantly pulling from Speyside as a region for the bulk of the base and the support malts in this one. Actually, you'll find on the side of the carton, if I show it up, maybe you can see it. So we put on the side a little flavour wheel, because we may not all have time to read the packaging when we're looking at stuff on the shelves. So this is just a very quick guide as to the sorts of things you can get. So citrus rich, lots of lovely cereal, and floral would be the things that you would pick up most on the nose of the hive.
It's a good bit of vanilla too, and floral. I see the floral and the citrus especially. And the hive being a wink to a beehive.
Absolutely.
Kind of like honeyed, sweet type of whiskey. It's not sweet as a liqueur, ladies and gentlemen. No, it's a proper whiskey. It's a proper Scotch whiskey, but it's on the sweeter side of a Scotch.
Absolutely. So some people say that they get more floral than fruity notes on the nose. I certainly always pick up a little bit of orange citrusy flavor, but in the mouth, I would say that you think, oh, this is going to be really light, but actually there's a bit of richness and depth that starts to come through with the hive. It's got a nice rich mouthfeel to it.
Lovely, huh?
Yeah.
And I get a little bit of vanilla as well, which is on the flavor wheel, but I get it quite a bit. I've been speaking on my own blogs or vlogs recently and comparing whiskies to perfumes. And this whiskey has, for those of you who watch me more often and know that I talk about perfume too, it has the smell of a tonka bean. So for your information, Ginny, a tonka bean grows in the Amazon rainforest, and they extract vanillins from it for the perfume industry. So this is what I'm getting from it too. Very nice and warm and easy to drink, but not easy to drink as in you could swallow a big gulp of it. It's proper Scotch. It's got body to it.
Oh, absolutely. So all our blended malts are bottled at 46%.
Yep.
And one of the key things that we strongly believe in is not chill filtering, because we want to leave as much of that flavour in as possible. And you inevitably, when you do chill filter, you will strip away some of that, particularly when it comes to the body of a whiskey. So
Yes.
we want to leave that as intact as possible.
Okay. It's lovely. I like it. I enjoy it. It's I approve.
It's the one that I'm actually most enjoy cooking with. I'm a big cook, and whenever pancake day comes around in this country, I pop my bottle of Hive and make a wee whiskey sauce to go over my pancakes, and it's absolutely scummy.
Whiskey sauce for a pancake. For Scotch pancakes, or
No, like French crepes. Make
the thin ones. Okay, not like I remember when I lived in Scotland, we had pancakes which were quite thick, actually.
Yeah, and I shouldn't say crep, but I can't.
Even the dogs like it. Eh? The dogs like it. So, actually, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that was my wife. She's got a bad cough just now. That was. So. The Spice King, for those, I'll go, there you see above me where I'm bending over, the Spice King, where I've just opened, another pop, hop, okay, there we go. And this is one that I know from the past, from the other packaging.
From the other packaging, yeah.
And I really enjoy it. It's aptly named. For those of you watching, the reason they named these whiskies with such exotic names is because these names reflect what you might find in it in the taste. So the Spice King is very spicy, of course. That's why it's called that.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you? I can imagine that you might think, what do you mean by spice? Well, in the UK, they have, well, not only in the UK, all over the world, they have a thing called allspice, not old, but allspice, which is little peppercorns that come from Jamaica. There is also pimento, which is quite spicy too, which is used in certain dishes. And I can get that black pepper, and it smells very Talisker-ish to me.
Well, on that note, you may well be wondering what the sort of makeup is of this particular blended malt. So again, we start with a very similar base to the Hive. So we have our grounding of good, sturdy, not too sweet, not overly fruity Speyside malts. Then we build up the middle part of the malt with a Highland malt, but also with a heavily peated Islay. Now, you don't need very much heavily peated Islay to make a big difference in a blend.
Yeah.
It'll go a long way with peated whiskies.
Yeah.
And then just to build up those top characters, we put in Highland Island malt. So very interesting, bearing in mind what you just said a moment ago. So you're starting to get that smokiness, that maritime through, quite peppery, particularly in the palate, but some really rich fruit come in from the Highland malt used in the support as well.
It's lovely. It's very nice and balanced. And for those of you who limit yourselves, that's the only word I can say. Limit yourselves by saying, "Oh no, I'm a single malt man. I don't like blends." Then I would like to say, well, try and take the clamp off of your brain and have a good look at a proper blended malt, because it can be so wonderful. This is absolutely lovely. I enjoy it very much. I've just insulted more people now. Eh? There we go. The spice.
What I would say to follow that up is, not all Scotch tastes the same. And we're so blessed with the multitudes of distilleries that we have and all those different flavors that you can have. It's a lot of fun to blend. Ultimately, you're producing something that's not going to be the same as anything else.
Yeah.
Really create a whiskey from, even just adding two malts together. Sometimes you might have a clear idea in your head of how that's going to taste, but it could be wildly different from anything that you could imagine. Those two malts, they interact very differently. They're very much living, breathing spirits when they're put together in a blend.
Absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it very much. And I said Taliskerish, and I know you're not allowed to say anything. I won't bother you with it, but I can't help thinking it. It's just a thought. The pepper does that for me. And the last one of this range, of these three, there's a whole bunch more, by the way, people. Remember, Ginny, you gave me once years ago a mini bottle of Velvet Fig, which I love.
Recently made a comeback as a 25-year-old limited edition release earlier this year.
That would be wonderful.
Oh, the fig will go down definitely in Wemyss history, because it was the first time some people that might have been a little bit skeptical about the naming of our whiskies went bang on. You've got it.
Bang on. Yeah, it was very velvety and fig-like. Yeah, and it actually. I lived in the Middle East for a while, and it reminded me in its smells and its taste of Middle Eastern. Just there's lots of figs grow there, and they use figs in lots of dishes. So smooth and nice. And now we have, I'm going through it a bit quicker now. We now have the peat chimney. Now you can see it behind me. I don't have to hold it up. Oh, looking the wrong way again. Over my other shoulder. And my video is not mirrored, so I don't know which way to point so that you'll see it. But over my right shoulder, so the people looking to the left of me, the peat chimney. Now you can see it on another pop. There we go. Lovely pop. And into the glass with it. The peat chimney. Now, as the Spice King was celebrating spices and peppers, now we go to something. I'll hold this up against my jersey because I've put it up. This is a piece of peat, ladies and gentlemen, I have here. Peat is about 25,000 years old. And as the forests die and grasses and mosses and shrubs, the rain in Scotland, in case you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, in Scotland, it can rain somewhat. So it rains down and packs it all in. And when you dig it up and dry it out, you can burn this just as good as any coal. And it gives off a very pungent smell. So this whiskey that we're tasting now, which you can see behind me in turquoise, I think the color is that right?
I think it possibly looks more turquoisey on your backdrop. It's a bluey grey, let's say. A sort of
duck egg blue.
Blue greyish color.
Okay.
But yes, so we've started with our base, which we like to start with Speyside. We have a nice platform across all our blends. We've this time added more in the way of Highland peated whiskey in the support of this malt. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we've gone in for that heavily peated Islay for the signature malts in peat chimney.
Yeah.
But because you've got all those waves of of cereal and sweetness and lightness before the heavier smoke. This is not so much a peat whack.
No, I was just about to say that. Yeah.
A peat whisper. Whisper's too gentle a word, but it's. I just want to give the idea that this is not something to put the fear of God into people who say, "Oh, I don't like smoky whiskies." You know, this is not going to terrorize you and provide you with nightmares. This is a really savoury, all-rounded smoke that's in here.
Wow, I like it. It's indeed not, because the name peat chimney. You would think the smoke, absolutely get the smoke and the bonfire, and also that floral that comes back again, heather. You know, when you're out in the heather in Scotland, or even in the Netherlands, if you live here, we have heaths as well, and when they're in bloom, it's beautiful. And this has got a smell of blooming heather. It's got a little bit of jasmine to it, even. Honeysuckle, which grows abundantly in our garden.
It's definitely, yeah, heavy on the floral. If you look at the flavour wheel that we've got up there, citrus as well. It's a nice sort of lemony streak that's running through. And then it's a great sipping dram, this one, because the more you sip it, the more that smoke starts to go, hi, I'm here.
Yes, it certainly does, yeah.
So it starts to build momentum.
I do approve. And now, because of time, I have to move on. We have to. I'm bad because I didn't bring along a bottle of King's Barnes. I forgot. I had one in my hand this morning and blooming well forgot it. So now I'm changing my background to the King's Barnes distillery. Now you have the bottle. Could you show us it?
I have the bottle. Here we go. Here is Dream to Dram, which is our flagship single malt that came out, oh gosh, it would be 18 months, nearly 2 years ago. Yeah. The first thing that people notice is the squares that go around the bottom third of the bottle. So this is a nod to our old farmsteading, which is used as the building for King's Barnes. And the centre of it, the oldest part of the building, is the dovecot or dewcot.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you so kindly took my wife and I there a couple of years back. We were in Pitt and Weem, and you came and took us up to King's Barnes, and we had a lovely tour. And the fellow who was giving us the tour was very, very knowledgeable. I really enjoyed it as well. He had a lot of things that I could learn from. I really liked it, and it's a lowland whiskey, yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely. Oh. So the family were keen to have their own single malt distillery. It is, again, in the same region of Fife. It's just outside of St Andrews, if you were to take the road south. Before you get to the bottom dent, or the little corner that you get to in Fife, which is where Crail is situated, it's before you get to Crail. So between St Andrews and Crail on the coast there. Wow. And it looks out over King's Barnes golf links, which is one of the top golf links in the world. If you're keen.
In the world, yeah.
But as you look from the car park, you've got the views of the sea, so it's a really picturesque location.
And for those of
you by barley fields, which is another thing that Fife is known for. It produces really top quality barley, and has done for centuries. And actually, some of the barley that we use at King's Barnes comes from farms that are still owned by the Wemyss family. So that's a nice connection, you know, keeping everything local.
And yes, I remember when we were there, we saw these beautiful big stills. I must say, it is a typical low. It's or a typical that Scotland doesn't have anything typical. You know, you can't. Some lowland whiskies taste very robust, and some Highland whiskies can taste very soft. So you can you can't really say, although it is generally said that lowland whiskies are soft and round and easygoing, which Kingsbarns is. It's a
Yeah,
very easygoing whiskey, a very, very quaffable whiskey, very easy to sip.
it's we wanted very much to keep it in with that, what you would think of as a lowland whiskey. So we do the traditional double distillation. We don't triple distill. Our stills run very slowly, so it's really making those vapors work extremely hard when they're distilling.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but we have a very narrow, high and narrow middle cut point when we're taking the heart of our run. So we're really trying to catch those fruity esters as they come out still. And, you know, we could have had a larger middle cut, but we didn't want to. We want to keep it, you know, the best of the best coming off. And then it comes down to what you choose, what would you choose to mature your spirit in. And for that reason, we mature predominantly in bourbon barrels that have been from Heaven Hill in Kentucky. But actually it was Dr. Jim Swan who was very, very helpful to us in the beginning and came on board as a consultant. And his ethos, if you're familiar with some of his work, is that the spirit must match the wood. You know, the wood is not there to overpower your spirit. The two have to work in complete and utter harmony. So the second element of Kingsbarns Dream to Dram is STR casks. So Portuguese red wine barriques. And that just gives an extra sweetness, an extra fruity softness to our already quite sweet and fruity lowland malt.
Yes, and we'll just explain. STR stands for shave, toast, and rechar, usually in wine barrels. The Dr. Jim Swan, may his soul rest in peace. He left us a couple of years ago, and he is famed all over the world for his. He's a legend, basically, or was a legend in whiskey making and whiskey maturation. So that's a great thing that he was involved with you. So so it's bourbon and a little STR.
Bourbon and a little STR, yes, for Dream to Dram.
We'll just give it a little bit of freshness. And now you've got a new one out called Balcomi.
Balcomi, yes, which is another little spot very close to the distillery. So just keeping the whole feel of everything being nice and local. So this one, if you are into your sherried whiskies, so whiskey that has been aged in whiskey that in casks that has held sherry or European wine or fortified wine, this will be right up your alley. So Balcomi is the age of the whiskey, and this is 5 years old, so getting a little bit older in our journey of the expressions that are coming forth now. And it's 100% sherry butts they're made from American oak. So they're American oak ex-sherry butts. So this is quite important because
we're not a finish. We're not talking about a finish.
Lighter than European oak.
We're not speaking of a finish here. It's absolutely completely matured in sherry.
Completely matured, it's not a finish, no.
Oh, I feel bad that I didn't take the bottle home with me just now so that I could. I like to taste on the spot, and then my mind starts to work with it, and so I didn't take it along. I'm so sorry about it.
Oh no, don't worry. Don't worry. I wish I had a bottle with me at the moment, but unfortunately I don't. But all those dried fruit, spicy notes that you'd expect to come through, they are there in abundance, but also you're getting the other side of actually what you would expect to find in the Dream to Dram. Our specific character is very much sort of the tropical fruit, sweet side of life. So the reason again for using American oak is that it hasn't overpowered the spirit, the true character of our whiskies. It's heightened it, it's boosted it. So you can taste the wood element, but you can taste the soul of Kingsbarns as well.
And for those of you watching, really worth a visit. You know, it's such a lovely part of Scotland. and it gets overlooked by many people who make a beeline straight to the Highlands. But Fife is wonderful, and especially that corner of it called the East Nuke, where it's situated. You know, there are harbours there. For Dutch people, very interesting, because many of the gables of the houses are built with Dutch bricks and the
And the
tiles on the roof.
tiles, the pan tiles, I remember you saying that last time.
Yeah. They were
Yeah.
used as ballast on boats coming from the Dutch province of Zeeland and thrown on shore, and then they loaded up Scottish produce and took them back. So they now have these Dutch houses in Crail especially, you can see them, and in Pittenweem. And in the Dutch province of Zeeland, there is a town called Veere, and there are Scottish houses there, a whole row of Scottish houses built for the same reason, because it went the other way too. So for Dutch people, it's very worth your while to go there. And the harbors are absolutely beautiful. They're really stunning.
Yes, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like something out of a storybook of what you would expect these little tiny fishing villages to be like, and all multicolored painted buildings. It's really pretty. And of course, the seafood there is to die for. Every stop has a seafood shack or some kind of equivalent little haunt that's worth stopping at. So it's a foodie's heaven if you're like me. You get some decent whiskey and you get some decent weather. They have a very strange little microclimate in that particular East Nuke spot. Very often I can drive from Edinburgh where it'll be sheeting with rain. So you've got the wipers on full, it's raining so hard. And by the time I've crossed the bridge and got over on my hour's drive to Kingsbarns, the sun is shining, the skies are blue, and the gulls are about.
Beautiful, eh? Yeah, lovely. And so if I would advise it, go there, have a holiday, spend a few days at least. And we spent a lovely week, my wife and I, and Ginny came to stay with us. And we had a view of the harbour. We could see the fishing boats going out in the morning and coming home in the evening. And you can buy the catch straight fresh from the ship. Beautiful.
And the other thing I should say that is on the same site as Kingsbarns, we've got a little cottage, which is where we produce the Darnley's gin as well. So if you're a gin fan, have a gin tour. You can even make your own bottle of gin while you're there on our distillation tour, and get to see some of the other side of what we get up to.
Oh yeah, you can make your own bespoke gin with your own.
That's the name of the tour, and it's lots of fun. A couple of hours and you get chatted through by Scott, our distiller, on all the different sorts of botanicals that we use. We've got an entire library catalogue there for you to pick from, and he can guide you through what flavours you can get from different bits and bobs, and it's great fun. Oh,
lovely. And now, so we've gone through but not through the whole range, because there are loads of single casks to be had as well. We actually had a single cask of Kingsbarns too in the Netherlands, which sold out. But it's all of it is absolutely wonderful. So Dutch people, I'm going to change to Dutch just for a couple of seconds, Ginny. I'm going to say nice things. Don't worry.
I trust you.
Dames en heren, als dit jou geïnspireerd heeft, ga naar de Betere Slijter. En ik kan me wel voorstellen dat u denkt, wat is nou de Betere Slijter? Dan gaat u naar bresserentimmer.nl en u kijkt naar verkooppunten. En daar kunt u zien waar de dichtstbijzijnde slijter is bij u, waar u deze producten kunt kopen. Ze zijn allemaal te koop en ze zijn niet heel duur en het zijn echt mooie kwaliteitswhiskies. So that was all. I was just telling them where they could get it. So back to English, and we'll just close off, Ginny, by saying goodbye and wish you all, after COVID, a wonderful, healthy, and long life with much happiness.
Thank you so much, Jock. Thank you for having me.
And stick around, Jenny. Once I stop recording, I want to chat to you as well.
So, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year, in which I hope to see many of you.
Cheerio.